Well, welcome back to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. My name is Wayne Kimmel, managing partner of 76 Capital, the sports tech venture capital company. And on this show, I interview top entrepreneurs, executives, and athletes who are truly changing and many times shaping the overall sports industry. And remember, you can subscribe to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and of course, on our 76 Capital website. Today, I'm really excited. We have a really great guest, good friend, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to have an incredible conversation. This is Jason Martinez, from Fox 29. Jason is the evening news anchor at Fox 29. He's on at 5 p.m. He's on at 6. He's on at 10. He's one of the hardest working guys in all of Philadelphia from a news and sports perspective. He's the host of the Philly, fantastic sports show. He's the creator of the Philly You're Awesome segments, which I can't wait to talk about as well here today. And it's just great to have you here. So, Jason, welcome to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show.
I'm honored to be here. You've had some guests that are just jaw-dropping on here. And so to be with you here, to be asked to be on this, I couldn't say yes fast enough.
Well, thanks for being here, and thanks for being here on the set here of our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. I was going to say that the Fox 29 studio, but that's your studio.
Yeah, this is still a professional setup though. Portfolio companies here to be with you. I know your day is always stacked with important things, so it's good to be here for half an hour to talk news, talk Philly culture, talk sports. It's a busy time in Philly. Never a dull moment.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's jump right into it. It is a really busy time in Philly. It's a busy time across the whole sports industry. Your quote unquote day job is both being a news anchor as well as being, running the sports show, the Fanatic show. Talk about your day and what's going on.
It starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So all morning we're planning our fantastic sports show, which airs weeknights at 11:30. We're planning our guests. What are our topics? I'm listening to WIP and the Fanatic to see what fans are saying. And again, there's never a dull moment. So we're planning what are we going to talk about on the show tonight? And in most cases in Philly, news and sports are one, right? We can lead a newscast with sports news. We can lead a newscast with, hey, what's wrong with Jalen Hurts? Or the coordinators have been fired. What do we do? So that's what I love about Philly is news and sports are kind of one. And so most of my morning is planning our sports show. We get to work. We have another meeting about what are we going to talk about here on the newscast? What are we going to talk about for our sports show? How can we make our sports show different? It's not just X's and O's. We want to blend entertainment, bring in actors and other people who are fans of Philly teams, not just pundits and beat writers, although we do have that too. We're trying to create a show that it's fun and it's entertaining. Last night we had a poker champ on, Darren Elias, who's won over $12 million in poker tournaments. That's the kind of guests we like to have on because, sports is, you get fans from all walks of life.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see what you've been able to do, and in many cases transform the way Fox 29 has done news. You've created new segments. You've created the new sports show. You're a sports guy doing news. You're very personable. People across, all over town know who you are. What's been that process like to sort of like change the way things were done into the way that you're doing them now?
Well, we have a show in the morning called Good Day Philadelphia. Mike Jarrett's the host, and Alex Hawley and Karen and Thomas and Sue. They have really set the bar. They set the bar because I think that is an iconic brand now in Philly where people watch that for that reason. They're all personable personalities, and people remember that. So I've really taken their lead, and I've watched how they operate, and they are workaholics. They are committed to the brand and to the people and accountable to them in Philly. Philly demands that you be real with them. They don't want a robot up there on camera trying to tell them what's right and what's not. They want you to listen to them and be an extension of them. So I've listened to the people. I've watched my peers succeed, and they do it with work ethic, working at all hours of the day, losing sleep over, trying to be at an event at night waking up early in the morning, and in my case, up early in the morning. So, I've learned from them. I've learned from a lot of people like you, just never pass up an opportunity to network with someone, never pass up an opportunity to have a conversation, to work an extra hour just to, extend yourself, because it's going to pay off in the end.
So you do the 5, 6, and 11 o'clock news, and now the 11:30 sports show.
Yes.
Normally that was maybe in the past, right? It was maybe there's a Sunday night sports show after an Eagles game or wrap up the week, but you do it every day. What was the sort of the reaction from the station, I guess, at first, but also that you were willing to and wanting to do that?
I've been a sports guy trapped in a news anchor's body for 22 years, however long I've been doing this. So when they asked me to host a sports show, I was like, yes, fine. I've been waiting my whole career for this, especially in Philly where sports are king. I couldn't say yes fast enough. So we have this show. My boss said, if I can watch this show on another channel, then you're not doing it right. In other words, we don't want a typical sports show. We want something that's different. Bring different guests, bring people from other channels onto our show. He says yes to everything. He wants to be different. My boss, Dennis Bianchi, Jim Driscoll. So that's what we're trying to create. Doing it on a nightly basis is a challenge. But as far as my peers go, they were like, "Oh, Jason, you're the guy for this." And I'm like, I'll do this as long as I can, because it's I've made a lot of great relationships already. A nightly guest. We have a chef on tonight, a barbecue expert who's got 2 million TikTok followers. Matt Rourke, who's also a teacher used to be a gym teacher in New Jersey. So it's a fun conversation, especially because anytime you talk Eagles, you're going to get a passionate conversation going. You're going to probably have some arguments that come out. What should we do with Jalen Hurts? What do we do with these coordinators? What's the future hold for the Eagles? How many disappointments can we handle in 2 years between the Phillies, Eagles again,
More Eagles?
Joel Embiid's injured. What's going to happen? It's like I said, never a dull moment.
We recently had Angelo Cataldi on the show here, and one of the things I said to him, I said, Angelo, I read your book. I was reading your book, and in your book you talk about how you've had two hockey guys on your show. You had Al Morganti and Keith Jones, and he said, but you didn't talk hockey. He's like, we had to just talk Eagles, right? Because that's what everyone just gets so excited in this community about.
And how about that? Right now, one of the most exciting teams in town is the Flyers, because of Keith Jones, and we've had him on our show as well, and just an incredible guy. Showed up early to the show, sat there and just chatted with us. I mean, he's now an executive, and he's worked so hard to get where he's at. Such a great guy to root for, and so we've had Angelo on as well, and learning from him was great. Just, I think he said something like, I never lied about my opinion, but maybe I embellished a little bit, but I always believed what I said. And that's Philly, show up, have some energy, have an opinion. And, if people don't agree with you, they don't agree with you, but at least it's authentic. Authenticity is everything in what we do.
100%. I mean, and what we do, here at 76 Capital, we're all about, investing in and working with the entrepreneurs who are doing the next thing around sports, media, and entertainment. And you're in the middle of all of this, right? And we're trying to always look around corners, think about what's the next thing. From your perspective as a news anchor on the sort of the traditional media side, on the sports side, doing all the sports things you do, and the fact that you're really incredibly active from a social media perspective and using all the digital tools, what do you see as sort of like some of the next things that are coming down the pike?
Well, in news, I really think we are a year or two away from AI news anchors. It is crazy. It's all the technology.
I'm getting replaced here, right?
Yeah, we all are. I mean, that's why authenticity is key, because I think AI news anchors, we're already seeing AI beat reporters, news reporters with, we saw what happened with Sports Illustrated, right? Most of the staff got laid off. So, we're seeing print being replaced by AI, scripts on television, scripted television shows, AI, and news anchors. So I think we're a year or two away from that. And it's, I think, my job to try to combat it by doing what AI can't, and that is real emotional connections, genuine, authentic relationships with people, with my audience. AI can't beat that. So it's crazy to think, but right now viewership is down. People are getting their news in other ways. So I think what we're going to see is more podcast style news, more just a different way of communicating with people. Different, Good Day Philadelphia is going to be there a long time, and what makes them so great is Jarek and Alex, and they're fun, real people. You know about their lives, you know about their children. AI anchors, they're not going to have that.
Right.
So I don't know what that's going to mean if people are actually going to watch, but people want surface level information now. They don't want deep journalism that takes weeks to try to curate. I think they just kind of want the headline, and that's about it. AI can do that. So that's tough.
Well, just recently, within the last week, we had in our sports business world, there's some really big things just in the last week that happened. Like Flutter, which is the parent company of FanDuel, is now a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange in the United States now, right? Like that's a really big deal. There was the other day, LeBron signs with DraftKings to go and be do his picks for everything but the NBA. So it's like the changing of all these new and different things that are now happening. It's the use of social media in such a big way across sports and media. And talk about, from your perspective of like, how are you using social media and how are you doing that to sort of connect with the fans and all the other people here across the Delaware Valley?
I mean, I don't know if it's a sad reality, but the reality is more people are seeing my social media posts than probably see a nightly newscast, depending on the night.
They're missing something.
I mean, right. But like, I had a video that I posted that was just me selling something on Facebook Marketplace, and it has over 2 million views on TikTok and a few 100,000 on Instagram. The point is, like, that's not an audience that we get on a nightly newscast anymore. So that's a big microphone that a lot of people don't want to deal with or use. And I've really committed myself this year. Every day I'm going to post a reel, whether it's something around the house with my family, my wife, my kids, something personal to me, or I'm around the station messing with people.
Washing dishes, I saw.
Yeah, washing dishes. Well, they say that's an aphrodisiac for your wife. She loves to see us wash dishes. So
how'd that work?
She fell asleep. I just think that we're missing out on an opportunity to connect with people. If that's your personality and you offering this platform as well. So it's an opportunity for me to grow my audience, grow myself.
Yeah. I mean, is that something that, so in the past, right, as a news anchor, you would kind of plan out the show, right? There's a script, basically, there's people in the back editing and pulling up a live feed and this and that. But from a social media perspective, is this just you?
It's just me. But we've had some influencers on our sports show, and they work so hard to create the content, to put it out there, to develop it, and they really impressed me. One of them told me, once you get over 100,000 followers, you should make $1 for every follower past 100,000 followers per year. So 100,000 followers, 100,000 a year, 200,000, 200,000 a year, and so on. I mean, that's money. These influencers work hard to get these relationships going with advertisers, and you get the content that's sponsored. And next thing you know, you're quitting your job and you are a full-time influencer. I wouldn't say that's my goal here, but growing an audience in Philly, doing content that's surrounding Philly sports, where I take off an Eagles jersey and it reveals my Phillies sweater because I'm ready to move on. So I think a lot of people are connecting to that, but I've grown to appreciate these influencers who are really working hard to establish these relationships with advertisers. That's how advertisers are getting their word out. They're not spending their money as much on the news or on any television program as much. They're spending it on content.
Well, I know you like to give back and help other people, and that's a really big part of who you are. You're extremely, empathetic, and
Yeah.
you have what you're doing with the "You Are Awesome" campaign. But how about this? Like, are there a couple like tips or tricks that you could share with our audience here on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show of some of the things that you've done that are, or maybe there are certain tools that you use on social media, or what are some of the ways that you create these ideas to get all these kinds of followers?
I'll tell you right now, I copy people. I look at reels that are going viral and I try to make it my own. And I'll say, okay, that one went viral. Here's how I can make that one more like me. And so I'm not saying I steal people's ideas, but I take them and I make them me. But the "You're Awesome" campaign, it occurred to me a year ago that people here are so giving and empathetic. Philly, I don't think Philly gets enough credit for that. People here are very philanthropic and very empathetic to each other, and they're going through their own things. So I came across a lot of just average Joes on the street doing extraordinary, giving, loving things, and they're getting nothing in return. They don't want anything in return. And I thought, well, why don't I find these people, tell their story, bring some positivity to the 10 o'clock news, and give people a reason to say, hey, maybe the news isn't so negative. So I started this "You're Awesome" campaign where I find average people in the teachers, nurses, home care people, firefighters, just anybody who's doing extraordinary things for other people, people of service. So we got a sponsor, Moravia Health, at Fox 29. They will donate $1,000 to these people. And I show up with a big check. I get to be Ed McMahon, which is fun. I show up with the check and I say, "You're awesome. And I tell their story. Here's why they're awesome. Here's the things they've done for other people." And usually they're like, "Hey, I know it's not life-changing money. It's only $1,000, but the point is a job well done, a pat on the back." There's some positivity going on in Philly, and I'm thrilled to be the one that gets to tell the story.
And you're in tell the story. You're recognizing these people and making people feel good, and hopefully inspiring others to do more.
And I've heard feedback that way. People have said, maybe I should do that. I've been wanting to give back. You know what? I'm gonna sign up for that, Boys and Girls Club or whatever it is, because they're inspired by it. And again, they get nothing in return. These people, they're just extraordinary. So tonight on our show, it's Thursday here. I'm not sure when it's the 1st of February, but tonight we'll be honoring a teacher. And it's about time we honored a teacher. $1,000. I said, hey, I know it's not life-changing money, but how are you going to spend it? And you know what they do? They end up donating it. They end up spending it on other people. And I'm like, no, take yourself to the spa and do something for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that is amazing when because they're such givers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to continue to help, help others, and that's
So I just as far as the social media part, I just ask people nominate.
Right.
Fox29.com/contests, and it's right there. And it's I go through these submissions. There's hundreds of them, and I wish I could give a $1,000 check to all of them because everybody's going through something, everybody's dealing with something, and there's always someone who rises up to help. And where would our world be without them?
Well, reach out. You said Fox 29.
Yeah, Fox29.com/contests if you want to nominate an awesome person. I'd love to show up with a check. Another thing I just did was this woman was taking care of her elderly neighbor, making food for her, going there. She's an 89-year-old woman in South Philly, and her neighbor was just taking care of her, helping her get dressed in the morning. I mean, it's the simplest stuff, but she's not getting anything out of it. And it's just these are the people that make our world a better place.
That's everything. That's everything.
Yeah.
And so look, I'd love to get into how you got here.
Mm-hmm.
You're now a Philly guy.
Yeah.
But you grew up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Tell your story.
Grew up in Southern California, played baseball my whole life.
I love you got the Diamond Kinetics bat there.
There it is.
Yeah.
They didn't have this when I was growing up. I thought I was gonna, I thought I was going to be a pro. I thought I was going to make it. I played college. I thought I was going to get drafted. Wasn't good enough. Didn't work hard enough. In my older age, I can see exactly where I went wrong. So it didn't work out. Doesn't work out for millions of us. So I said, all right, I want to be a sports reporter. So I had some mentors and some internships in Southern California and LA. They said, Jason, you can make more money and have more opportunity doing news. So do news, You can still do sports occasionally. That was 2000. And I get my first job in Toledo, Ohio as a news reporter. So I go to the minor leagues of news. I go to Toledo, Ohio, which was, wow, for an LA kid to go to Toledo, Ohio was just, I was so homesick. But it was so good for me. I got this other culture. I lived, Ohio State and Michigan. That was everything in Toledo, Ohio. And 9/11 happens and news changes a little bit. From there, I go to Fresno, California. So I go back to California, but I'm in Central California. From there, I go to LA for a year to be a reporter. Then I got a chance to go to Miami and be a news anchor there for 5 years. Then I come back to San Diego, and now I'm in Philly. I've been in Philly 5 years. I feel more at home here than even I do in California now. It's because of the people. We have 3 kids, my wife and I. We live in Havertown. And our neighbors, we all get together. It's such a sense of community. I don't know what it is. I can only say it's the people of Philly that have made us feel at home here. But I don't know. We found our home. And 5 years have flown by.
That's awesome. So I know, what are some of the things that are your, other than what you do on the air, are there certain hobbies or things that you like to do?
Well, I have 5 kids total. There are no hobbies when you have 5 kids. I wish I could play golf. You know what I do? My wife and I are all into, exercise, and I take ice baths. I do that to calm me down. I'm into this thing now where I fast for 3 days. It's the long-term water only fasting. I'm not doing it right now, but you kind of learn a lot about yourself, what you can do and accomplish. When I turn, maybe it's a midlife crisis. I don't know, but I like to do all these little challenges.
So what goes through your head in a 3-day fast?
That's a great question. That's a good way to put it, because it's all in your head. What goes through your head is, I don't know. Do you have a time of day you always eat? Like, is there a breakfast every day or like a dinner at 5 p.m.?
I'm a breakfast guy.
Okay. When you sit and have breakfast, so when you come up to, let's say that happens at 8 o'clock, and then you wake up and you're fasting, and that moment at 8 o'clock hits, and you're like, oh my God, I'm usually eating at this time. What do I do? That's when your brain is saying, eat, even though you're not hungry. Like, if you really think about it, your brain is telling you to eat. So you have to overcome that habit to eat and just power through, stay busy, get on a phone call, do something around the house to get through it. And then you get through that urge to eat, and you're fine. You actually feel you have more energy. You can still have black coffee. You can still have, some people have broth, but you feel amazing after it. And then you're like, hey, I think I can keep going. You get to day 4, and your brain, your cognitive is great. So anyway, I'm probably a psycho, but I love to listen to these podcasts on people who've done it. Who knows what's next?
Well, who are some of your mentors that you kind of look up to in the world?
That's a great question. Great fathers, great people who motivate, people who are workaholics in a good way, people who have a good work-life balance. It's probably a lot of social media people at this point, because that's who puts themselves out there. I'm trying to think of a good example, but just people who,
did you have a mentor or a coach or someone that really was like, wow, that really helped take me in the right direction?
My dad. My dad, he's still my best friend to this day. And, I remember sitting in the car after a bad game. My dad always had the right words. And sometimes those words are nothing. You're sitting in the car, you're sitting all mad after a bad game. Struck out 3 times. Baseball sucks. Dad would say, well, son, you made a good play out there. You made a good play at third base. He always found the right word. So when it comes to a good influence, a mentor, it's just a good father. My dad just he set the right standard, because now as a father of 5, I take a lot of what he does. And sometimes I wish I had his patience. He's way more patient than I am. So
it's always something to work on, right?
Right. Well, because you go to sleep at night and you go, where did I go wrong today? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Sometimes I do that. And it always comes down to like some of the things maybe you could have done with your kids or said, or, hey, in that moment, I should have come up with that word, or I shouldn't have yelled at my kid in that moment. So every day I'm trying to be a better me. I haven't hit it yet. So when I think of like the people that influence me, it's those people who seem to have it right, or at least who have failed and have turned it around.
Well, as we start to wrap things up on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show, first of all, Jason, this has been awesome having you here, and I just really enjoyed the conversation. So happy for you, and watching your career over the last 5 years here in Philly, just continuing to do more and more and more, and become a bigger star here in Philly, and just congrats on that.
Thank you very much. I just say yes to everything. I think that's what a lot of people do right. You get an opportunity, you say yes. When my boss says you want to do sports, yes. You want to do this You're Awesome series? Yes. You want to still do the 5, 6, 10, and 11 newscast? Yes. So it's a good time in Philly. I love this place. I love Fox, and who knows what this next year holds.
Yeah, it's exciting. And you think the big thing on this show is we talk about leaders, we talk about leadership, we talk about traits of leaders. Are there certain people or certain traits of leaders over the years that you've seen that you look to do in your have in your own life?
Yeah. Well, I follow the leadership, and I've read the book of Jocko Willink. He's a Navy SEAL, and his leadership trait is all about accountability. And how can I help? How can I, in the newsroom, they look to me. It was interesting. I was a young reporter for all these years, and now they look to me for leadership. And you're always calm in times of trial. When things are going crazy in the newsroom, you're calm. And if you're calm, everybody else that's calm. You got to lead by example. You got to be accountable. When you go wrong, you've got to call yourself out. I could have been better here. And once you're accountable, the conversation's over. There's no argument. It's like, okay. And maybe you set a culture of accountability. So, that's kind of who I look to when it comes to the pressure of the moment, being able to compose yourself and stay calm.
So when you look, to the future now, for you personally, for Fox 29 as a news and sports station, what do you see out there?
I see less syndication, less Judge Judy, less shows that aren't produced in-house, and more in-house production. We have a digital channel and an app, Fox Local, where you can watch in-house content almost 24 hours a day. You can watch our sports show. There's a couple of shows that we have in-house that are airing on this app. We're producing more original content on this app. It's more affordable for us, and you can download the Fox Local app on your smart TV. It's only available on your smart TV, so you can't download the app on your phone. So what we see in the future is more original content and you're probably going to see this from all the stations in town. It costs us almost nothing to produce, and we have the technology to do it. More podcasts, more long form content, and less traditional newscasts. That's what I see.
Is that something that the other, say, Fox affiliates around the country?
Yes, the Fox owned stations were all doing this. In fact, the You're Awesome series is growing to their stations as well. Houston, LA, there's a few there too. So this is all something that we're all trying to see the next thing. And in traditional appointment television at 5 p.m. or the news at 10 p.m., it's waning. So they're trying to find ways to still reach people, and they're doing it in non-traditional ways. We got a guy who's got a selfie stick and a phone and a camera, and he's going around the newsroom talking to everybody. Hey, what's coming up tonight? All right, yeah. And it's a whole different way to talk to people, but I think people appreciate the originality of it. So that's what we can expect.
Well, once again, it's been amazing having you here on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. So, look, everyone's got to get to know you. You want to get to know all the people, not only just in Philly, but quite frankly, everywhere. All over the world. I mean, like this is someone that, look, again, it's great to be able to call you a friend, thank you for all the things that you've been able to do and advice around this kind of what we're doing here and the microphone itself. And, but just it's really it's been great getting to know you, and you really are the kind of person that when we talk about working with smart and nice people who want to change the world, that's Jason Martinez.
Thank you. And thank you, Wayne. I appreciate your friendship, and I've learned a lot from you, and let's keep it going in 2024.
Absolutely. Where can everyone find you? Just
Jason Martinez TV on Instagram and on TikTok. Here's my account. Can you see that? Jason Martinez TV. And I'm also Jason Fox 29 on Twitter or X.
Exactly.
Can't keep up.
Exactly. Jason, again, thanks so much for joining our show.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.